One is the talent, one is the luck. No, we don't know him. I never prepare my sets before. Is the beat good? And then there will be a break, or there's maybe a vocal or a sample or whatever.
Bueno, ¿cómo están? ¿Bien? Les agradecemos que estén acá. Es realmente un placer gigante presentar hoy a Nick Carley.
Hello. Thank you. Gracias.
So, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. I'm happy to be back here in Buenos Aires.
Today we are going to talk about the scene, the music. Here is full of young producers that are willing to get in the labels world, and you know a lot about that. So we are going to talk about Cécille, we are going to talk about 8-Bit, we are going to talk about also Argentinian producers that are making it to your levels, and also about how you see music today and give advice to them. When you started Cécille?
First, I started 8-Bit with Gorge, my partner Gorge, which was over 20 years ago. And Cécille, I started 2 years later with my partner Mark Shaw, and 18 years ago about, I would say.
And at that time, it was like, I remember to listen about the Mannheim sound, and all the world pointed to your city.
Yes, it was actually, I would say at this time there was the big minimal hype with Richie Hawtin and Magda and all these crew around them. And the people were kind of, I think when we started, the people were kind of tired of the dark minimal sound. So we came back with this house sound, with the grooves again. Like we started more like the Chicago house stuff and our loopy house stuff. And we were lucky. It was 8-Bit at this time. Then we started Cécille, and then there was another label from Mannheim called Oslo Records with Federico Molinari. He's also is Argentinian guy. He started this. He's also from Mannheim. And yes, and then the media picked us to say, hey, these guys from Mannheim, they produced this sound, and these labels released this sound. And they gave us the word Mannheim sound. It was the biggest German dance magazine. It was called Groove magazine, which was the biggest dance magazine these days. And they picked us, and they gave us the name. Because Mannheim is the city, and then they gave us the name, which was super lucky for us. And it was like, it became like a brand, Mannheim sound, you know.
You were always related with Frankfurt, right? With Cocoon scene and...
Yes, Mannheim is the city where I'm from, or we are from, like Johnny D and all these, my friends from there. And but Mannheim is in between Frankfurt, which was more like the techno clubs, like Sven Feth's club, Omen, and then there was Dorian Gray. It was a famous club in Frankfurt Airport. We had an after-hour club, actually, in Frankfurt Airport. And then if you went to the other direction, to Stuttgart, it's the other direction from Mannheim, and there was more the house scene. So Mannheim was in between. And also we were playing at that time house music and breakbeats in the same time, in the same room, at the same set sometimes. Which is today's, it was completely, it sounds weird, but it worked out really well.
And then you started to release artists from all over the world, right?
Yes, first of all, it was more like our own crew, like as I said, with Johnny D, Ray Para, and then we had Markus Fix, the Frankfurt guys, Robert Dietz, and they were all from our crew. But then, of course, the label became bigger, and then we had Butch, but Butch was also from our area, and Sis and these guys. So they were all, basically at the beginning, it started all with our friends and friends from friends, I would say. And then, later on, because the label became very fast big, we got so many demos then, and we can choose like from all over the world.
An advice for the kids or people that is starting, it's good to start with your friends and your environment.
Yes, I think this is actually, basically, it was also, as I said, in all my way from the career, there is always two things. You have to have the idea, you create something like a label or a track or whatever, And then later, you also have another thing is sometimes it's luck. Because I think if I only maybe just I had to the label, maybe just 8-bit or just Cécille, and my friends would not have made Oslo records, then I probably would not been here, because it was a crew. It was something that the media picked up, and they took us there. Because when the Groove magazine, we had the title on the biggest dance magazine. This is like these days you need to pay a lot of money to come on a title of a dance magazine. We got it for free. They invited us to Berlin to play at Watergate, and then it started all from there. This was a big luck that they choose us. There was other labels as well in these days. So. Yeah, this is, as I said, one is the talent, one is the luck.
Hernán Cataño told me the same when I was a kid. He told me, well, an extra thing is to have luck.
Yes.
I think that you companion luck with being prepared, study, be a producer, be productive as a producer.
I mean, this is all I think this was the first step of my career, which I had this luck. Later on in Ibiza, for example, it was a similar thing. I had also, luck, because I got invited to Ibiza to play the Su project, and then because I was on the island, I got invited together with because I was already there. Because Space, they had the cancellation for the Friday. And because they could not make the deal with the Friday promoter, so they invited me and Guy Gerber to create it. Then they created all night, and then I became resident in Space Ibiza from zero to be resident in Space Ibiza out of nothing. This was, of course, also big luck that these guys had that this slot became free, and I was there. As I said, at the right time, at the right place. So that was luck.
Definitely.
Nothing else.
And you, with Guy, you've been resident on Friday.
It was they created a name which was called Kea Kuma, and it was our night, basically, more or less. We were the main residents, and were playing there for like 3-4 years. As it was our night. We invited we were the first. We brought Seth Roxler, Jamie Jones. They played first for us before they played for anyone else, I think.
Well, yeah.
I was also at this time. I was also my friend Solomon. He had a small club in Hamburg. I also played there, and I also tried to bring him to Ibiza to my party, but the promoter said no, we don't know him. It was also like this, I always said, hey, this Solomon he's becoming big, and the Space guy said, no, he's not big enough.
And when did you meet Solomon?
As I said, at this time when we started with the Mannheim sound, of course we were big in Germany then, and then he had a club in Hamburg. He was running a club together with his sister Magdalena. It was called Ego. And yes, I was playing there, I wouldn't say resident, but I was there like 3-4 times per year. So yes, that's how we met, and we became friends through this.
It's good to know this, because sometimes you see like the big name like Solomon, but then you realize that back in the days...
He started late, he started late, and for him it became very fast, through this remix. I think he did this remix for Noir that was famous, and then also he did this edit for Jamie Woon at the same time. So that was 2 productions which made him big.
Why you say late? Because he was old, or?
No, I mean late when he started, I think, DJing. He didn't start DJing that early, I think. But as I said, he became after me.
Okay, I know. I've got it. Here in Argentina, Solomon is like a hero,
I know. I know, yeah. Everywhere it's like he became so big. But maybe, as I said, maybe for him it was also luck that he didn't make it to Space. So then he went later because he had the label Dynamic, which was also a crew from Hamburg with like Horsch and also all his friends from Hamburg. And then he went to Senkis, I think, in Ibiza, and that they filled it with this sound, Senkis, and then he got a Pasha residency. I think for him it was maybe the same steps in a different club.
How important do you think it's Ibiza for you, Shermans, to get into the world?
I mean, Ibiza is in general is very important. I mean, Ibiza is connected also to the UK market, because a lot of clubs are run by yes, English people, I would say. The scene is English still a lot. But of course, there's also a lot of Argentinians in Ibiza that control some clubs or restaurants and stuff.
Definitely.
So Ibiza is, of course, Ibiza is important. I mean, now this scene became so big. There's other parts in the world which I think, okay, now of course, also now in January, everyone is in Tulum now, or now the US market is becoming big, with clubs like Space in Miami also. But of course, Ibiza is Ibiza.
Well, to come here, it's also important, I think.
Yeah, yeah, of course. I mean, South America was for me then also my most important. I would say maybe still is the most important market. Before it was Argentina, I would say my number one country here. Now I would say it's Chile, because I come 3 times, 4 times per year to Chile. But also, of course, Argentina was always good for me. Yeah, I wanted to go back to the productions when we started, because that was the time actually when we started with the labels 8-Bit and Cécille. There was no Spotify. Beatport I think Beatport just started at that time, maybe, but everyone was playing vinyls.
It was 2005 that Beatport started.
As I said, it's like when we did the labels now
Yeah.
with 25 and 20 years ago. So it was slowly the Beatport. It was not clear, okay, it's Beatport or is it going with iTunes, I think, or Apple Music was it that time? Which one is the bigger? But then, of course, Beatport made it. And yeah, at that time it was, of course, there was the big vinyl market. I mean, everyone was playing vinyls, and later on the CDJs was like CDs, There was no USB or stick or something like this, because it was not digital. And later, yeah, that was also a different way how the people buy music, because vinyl is expensive, and you think longer about, okay, I'm investing in buying a vinyl or in this track or in this EP. Okay, now you buy a track and think, okay, someone plays this track and say, okay, maybe it's good, I buy it because it's cheap, or I maybe share it to a friend. That was not possible back in the days. So it was more intense with the music. So the selection was deeper, and as well, you played it longer because you have invested more in the music, I would say.
What conclusion do you think about this before and now for someone that is producer in these days?
Yeah, okay. It was, of course, I mean, as well back in these days, what also was, it was, I think there was not even Ableton. It was only Cubase and Reason there to produce. And as well, I'm not even sure if, because back in the days, it was to produce a track, it costs you a lot of money because it was all hardware. There was not software actually. That came actually at this time slowly. I think we started with Cubase, but there was still a lot of hardware back in the days when for example, of course, when the Detroit guys started and stuff. All this was produced on only hardware, and that's the machines were really expensive also, like these back in the days, and big like this.
And today that is easier to produce. What advice will you give to someone that is getting into the production music related to the style, follow fashion, be authentic? What do you think about you that receive a lot of demos
Yeah,
and listen to a lot of people around the world?
The result of becoming everything digital is, of course, it's easier. The people you can produce music on a laptop. You can download. Ableton now, and it's very cheap. Let's say that you can produce a track, which means in the other way, of course, a lot of more people produce music, and there's a lot of more demos. And then the advice I can give is like always creating your own style. Try to do something which is maybe not here. You have to impress the people that actually, they had created an own style. Maybe you have to go something like with your actually own accent, let's say.
What someone that is a producer could make to impress you as a producer or a music creator?
As I said, it's this is also, I mean, I'm trying to listen as many demos as I can. And as I said, on both labels, actually, on Cécille, we're making still with every release, we do in vinyls. But that means we can release only every 4 to 5 weeks. And that means per year, we can only do maximum 10, 11 releases. And, that's not a lot. That's not much if you're seeing over the year. And with 8-bit, we do every 3 weeks, we have a release. And I'm trying to build a crew, which means, okay, I'm trying to give the opportunity to some artists from my crew every year, minimum 1 or 2 slots in this year, which is also then hard to enter then as well. But my advice is always, okay, I'm feeling the groove. The groove is the first thing. The beat needs to be groovy for me or special, like I can listen to a track, I would say in 5 seconds, and then I see, okay, then it has to catch me in the 5 seconds, and then I listen to the end or listen again. This is the first 5 seconds is important, I think. Because of course I'm not listening every demo from beginning to the end. This is not possible.
What do you listen in that 5 seconds? In which point of the track you go first?
I just start somewhere, and then first, okay, I start from the beginning, and then I skip it maybe, and then I see there's, let's say, 5 seconds here, 5 seconds in the middle, and the first 5 seconds already. Let's say maybe it's 10 seconds,
Yeah.
Then it's you feel it already. Okay, is the beat good? And then there will be a break, or there's maybe a vocal or a sample or whatever comes. The theme. Let's say the beat, the theme, and the idea. The symbiosis of both together. That makes a good track at the end. Is it a good groove? It can be also good, like a good tool to play, or is it has it a catchy vocal or a catchy sample, which is at the end, wow, is it a hit, or does it catch people? Because when it catches me, it also catches other people, if you can get it. There's a lot of producers now. Of course, everyone uses Splice now as a sample library, and with the vocals and stuff, and. Of course, there's a lot of the same samples or the same vocals now. And as well, okay, this can be good, but as well, then I hear another track with the same sample, then it's not good.
And at the end, I put an advice for me that is, look for the source where you look for vocals and stuff to be original.
Or, as I said, you're here in someone, as I'm sure there's also some good singers around, said, okay, look, you have the idea of the track, what you want to do, and maybe even, okay, if you said, okay, I'm using this sample for now as a ground idea, and then later on I pick a singer and maybe let's sing him the same sample but in a different way, and make it your own. It's always better. Mostly, let's say, some samples are really cool. They can work with us.
Yeah, originality is awesome. You've released at Cécille an Héctor Couto track that has a Spanish vocal. Where that vocal came from? What is the story about that?
That Héctor, you're talking about El House?
El House.
Héctor Couto featuring Alejandro Paz. Alejandro Paz released this track, I don't know, maybe 8 years ago or something like this. And Héctor Couto made an edit out of it. And he sent me the edit, like last year already. And I played it, and I always liked it. I liked it. But at this time, I mostly played it in Europe. And then he also sent me demos with other tracks, which I didn't like that much. I said, Héctor, this edit is so good. But he said, yes, but it is a famous singer from Chile. We cannot use it. We cannot release it. And then last year, I played in Chile, actually, and I played the track in La Feria, I think. And then my friend Andre Butano, he said, this is the vocal from Alejandro Paz. It's very famous here in Chile.
Wow.
And I said, okay, you know him? I said, yes, of course I know him. And he knew him, and then made a contact, and we cleared the sample, which was also good. We also, again, luck, let's say, he know him. He made the contact, and yes, we made it official now. And then I could release it. And it's at the moment it's number 2 in Beatport, the house chart, so it's good.
Oh, really?
It was very famous in Chile. It's still, and I think, of course, the Spanish people, they understand it.
Yeah. You also, we have the Perpetuo.
Yes.
You like Spanish vocals, right?
Yeah, but that was also a friend of mine. She's from Mexico, living now in Barcelona.
Cécille.
Yeah. She made the vocal that days.
Yeah. One day I was waking up to wake up my kids, and I got a message from you asking me what is this vocal about, and it was really really emotional for me because it reminds me my mother. And you said me, okay, Cécille also told me the same. It's from a book, and I said I want to make a remix from this, and
Yes.
amazing track.
I just saw her last week and gave her some new layout.
What is a new layout?
A layout, like a layout for a track where she sings on.
Ah, okay,
It's a layout. It's not a
okay,
finished
yeah,
track.
yeah,
It's a
yeah, yeah,
layout.
yeah, yeah, I've got it. Do you understand Spanish at all, or
Not really.
not really? Es como cuando escuchamos un track en alemán que dice and it's like noise, you know? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but sometimes you don't need to understand it. It can also be like an emotion that the vocal gives you. Even you don't understand what it says, but it can be an emotion. It's. I mean, I'm sure because many people here in Argentina they don't speak English, but they like English tracks, and don't understand the full meaning what they sing or whatever.
Definitely. Yeah, El House has this groove that the groove is the most important, I think.
Yes.
And now
Or
you're
it has, as I said, it has to have emotion. Yeah, what everyone likes. I signed a track now for Cécille, which I think it can also be a super hit because it's not typical style which we did on Cécille. And when I listened first, let's say my 5 seconds, I left the track. I did this is not our style. But then my partner Mark, he said, "Oh, did you listen to that track? It's really good." And I listened again to the full track, and I said, "Yes, it catched me." And it's a track which I think it's house, of course, but it has such an emotion that it will be played. Maybe I know already, like teachers like Joseph Capriati and that they play it already, but I'm sure this track can also be played by keine music, because it catches all genres. Everyone will has this. Everyone likes this emotion in this track. It's very special.
What do you think about phones in the dance floor? Because our friends from Mendoza recently opened a new club called Chica Granada, and it was like a challenge for them not to allow the phone inside of the dance floor.
Yeah, it becomes very famous now because in Ibiza, for example, on many nights it's not allowed anymore to bring the phones, and there's some festivals actually doing it too. So they take the phones and lock them in things. Or like for example, the most famous club is Berghain. Panorama by Berghain is you never see a video from inside. And every weekend is like thousands of people are in there since years, but you never see a video from inside because it's completely forbidden to film anything. And yeah, but the vibe is changing in there, because everyone is focusing on the music and not about they take the moment with home in their heart or in their mind, not on the phone. Because sometimes now it's only say, "Oh, I want to make the best video. Is this the best video? The best videos?" Actually, they miss the moment. The best moment from the track is this when the hands go up or the people feel the most emotion, and then everyone takes out the phone. Yeah, but that's not in this time. You should be with the track, with the feeling, and not filming. That's why it's a good idea.
Also in Watergate, they put a sticker to the.
Yes, it's not in the Berlin clubs. It's not. I mean, most of them, it's not allowed. And now they start again in Ibiza. I know, for example, like I think even Black Coffee and Damon Lazarus night is no phones allowed. I know that No Art they make parties with no phones allowed. Yeah.
When I was a kid, when I was young, and I used to go playing and then go to a club where someone plays, go to see Hernan that play till maybe 10 a.m. and I finish at 6. No one knows, no one knew where I was, it was not only the filming thing,
Yes.
also where's Mariano? In some party, I don't know.
Yeah, there was no phones. There were no phones.
Yeah.
No cell phones.
And are you using AI for something?
Not for the production. I mean, I used once with the. I think we changed the vocal, but actually it was not. Yeah, it was not really me. It was more with Coach did it. But yeah, no, not yet.
And in your life,
Yes, of
besides
course.
music,
Yes, of course, of course. ChatGPT I use all the time
what for?
for asking. I mean, I'm not using Google anymore. I ask ChatGPT
Okay.
most things, or for translation, for example. Maybe even some Instagram posts or whatever. I ask
And
them.
have you tried, for example, to I like this track. Can you recommend me tracks that are similar to
No,
this? Never.
never.
That's good.
But that will be the next steps, I mean, then its production becomes maybe, if it can copy it. I mean, there's already tools that say, okay, I want to make a track like this. Can you give me like the ground layout or whatever? So where are we going then, as I said? And then it's even harder for the labels to say, okay, yeah, but if everyone does the same, this is number one in Beatport. So then you say, okay, yes, now I want to make a track like this, which becomes number one. It will not become number one, the second one, I think, because everyone will do this then. Then it's more important to say, okay, I'm going to do a different direction, which catches and is the next number one.
Well, what you said, what you mentioned about this
Yes.
this track. ¿Alguien quiere hacer una pregunta? He uses an application that when you're listening to a track, this app tells you in your music library 5 tracks that will go okay with the one that you
Yeah,
are
but
playing.
that's can Recordbox, I think, cannot do it already,
I don't know. I think
I'm
I
not
don't
sure.
know.
I mean, as I said, but then it gets boring, because
Yeah.
then, as I said, like for example, here when it started with the vinyls, or I always said when you give a DJ 10 vinyls or 20, the same, everyone will play it in a different sign. He make the mix on a different time. He plays maybe another track after the other. So that makes it interesting. If it's like this, everyone can copy and say, make me the same like this, or then it's copied, then it's boring because then everyone plays the same or produce the same.
Yeah, that's because I think I use it for things where I'm not an expert, So I want to cook this. Please give me advice on how to cook it.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I want to use an AI to recommend me which 5 tracks to play, because that's the fun part for me, to choose which track.
I also like it, in the people in the studio. I like to work with different people also in the studio, with musicians. Or for example, when I did my album back in the days, I worked with at this time we had a studio like similar to here. We rented the whole complex, and we had to rent out the studios to different musicians. And there was one guy, he was a bass guitar player and like big normal the contrabass and everything. So, but he's not at all in the electronic music scene. Never. He was never. I think he was never in an electronic music club. But I chose him to say, look, are we doing my album together? Because I want his neutrality on the music, because I know he had never touched this scene so far. He came from German jazz music and stuff. So that was very interesting for me. And actually, as I said, this album still, when I hear it 10 years after, I still love it. I would do it maybe 1-2 tracks, not, but the same. It's cool. It's timeless, and I'm very happy I did it like this, with someone that has completely no influence.
Is the album that you made for Defected?
Yes, I made it for the Cécille first, and then the Defected signed it because they liked it so much.
Better than artificial intelligence is work with people.
Yes, of course. I mean, they are here in different classes, and as well, first you have an idea. Sometimes you think, oh, it's my idea, it's good, but then you can show it to your other people. If they also like the idea, you're on a good way. If like 10 people say, oh no, it's not that good, then maybe it's because I think it's good, and let's say 8 people or 5 people from the 10, they don't think it's good. If they're honest, yeah, then maybe you need to change some things, Or as I said, with the singers, or it's always better to have someone else in and maybe sing the vocals live and stuff.
And now you're signing Argentinian artists. I know that Ariel Roth and Ronald Portela have one track in a compilation.
Yes, they will be on the summer compilation in Cécille, and then also have the guy called Tumi Disco. He's also an 8-bit. He released last year. Yes, I have 3 artists from Argentina.
Ronan and Ariel are going to be in the summer compilation. It's a vinyl, double vinyl, or what?
Yes, it's a double vinyl. Yeah, and they and Rix from Cordoba is also there.
Rix is also in this one.
Also in this compilation.
Okay.
Yes. For example, with these guys, also with Rix, he does a very special sound. I think he has very. I mean, his beats is a bit it's different to other demos I get, so that's why it catched me also, you know. But of course he does only this sound or most of the tracks like this, but yeah, it's special for him. It gives him a signature, you know. And yeah, that's what I said. That's maybe why I picked it, or we picked it, not I just but my friends also said, okay, we need to listen more. At the beginning we said, okay, it's not because it's only this sound and all demos sounded like this. We said, okay, we're not doing an EP with it. It's maybe too much, but we put it on this compilation. It's perfect.
Can you describe the difference? What is that special thing? Or
I mean, you would need to listen to the track now. It's like this. It's also, of course, it has this special groove with the drumming. He programs it and stuff. It's different. I mean, if you know his tracks, you know what I mean, because mostly in his latest production he does like this.
As a DJ, when you play, what do you pay attention when you select music? The intensity, the sound, the style. What is your to make a good set, and what's your identity?
I never prepare my sets before. Like, for example, tonight I know, okay, I have a few folders which I think, okay, I will play most of it out of these folders. But of course, I don't know what is the vibe tonight in the club. You know, for example, yesterday I was very surprised because they played very housey, the guys. There was guys from Cordoba, they played before, and they played very housey, which I didn't expect, but it was cool. So I went on this line and built it up from there. But I'm not sure what happens tonight. You know, when I come in the club at 3, maybe the guy plays techno before, but then of course I will see the vibe. Maybe I bring it down. Maybe I jump on it. It's this moment I will do the like, let's say in the last 10 minutes before I start, I will make my selection in my head.
Cool. In the intensity, do you go like from bottom to top, or you go up and down during the set?
Up and down.
Up and down.
It can also be. It depends. I mean, if it's 2 hours, if you see the people have the energy to go full power 2 hours, then I might go also 2 hours full power. But I think, okay, I try to bring every 6, 7 track, or so I would say, one that comes down and then again go up, you know, because sometimes I think it's better for the people to give them like maybe it's one more emotional one, yeah, a little bit deeper or whatever.
A climax or something.
Yeah.
Do you listen to another kind of music or artist that is not related to electronic music?
Yes, a lot. Mostly, actually, in the car and stuff, I listen to. In Germany, it's still like a lot of popular with the radio, with some 80s hip hop or something like this. I think it's very important, actually, for me to reset my brain.
I think that to enjoy what you do is the important thing, you know, and to enjoy the moment, to be human. And it's not the outcome, it's not that the finished track. It's like how you get there, everything that you mentioned about music is something human, you know, when you talk about a different track that pops you in your taste, or the rig sound that is different. It's not
at the end. It's the people that choose it. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, there's people that go to see Paris Hilton with a mix. You know, she maybe cannot do a mix by herself. She goes there and thinks she's a DJ, for example. Let's say. And the people like it, you know. Okay, if the people like it, okay, it's their choice. Then it's the same with the producing the track. If you say, okay, he produced the track by himself with his idea or with live instruments or live singers or whatever, or the band, yeah, then people will notice it.
Mention 3 or 4 artists to open their minds, and it doesn't necessarily have to be someone new, you know. But for example, listen to Danny Tenaglia or some artists that you think will inspire them and open their minds.
There's like some producers are lately signed, which upcoming I think is like of course it's Chino Negro is the guy I told you about him. He's
Peruano.
for me Then upcoming producer, or he's already there. I have him on 8-bit. He's from Peru. Or East Town, of course, Rule. These are young Dutch guys. Of course, then Gorge, my partner from 8-bit. Always, for long term. These are, let's say, the people that constantly make good music over the years. I mean, some of them are quite young, because this is also something. I have a lot of my friends which started for me. Let's say Johnny D. He was my all-time favorite producers. All time, every track it was amazing, and the ideas, it was only him. It was only him. He produced 15-minute long tracks, and it was never boring. It was only one loop, but it was never boring. But somehow he cannot do it anymore. Sorry to say, but it's he sent me track. It's hard.
I talked with Johnny about that.
Creative break or whatever. He's not able to do it anymore.
Thank you, danke schön, gracias.
Thank you. Thank you.